4D Solar System Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to show you one of the coolest nails I've ever made, and I know I've said that in the past, but this one really I'm in love with. It is a 4D solar system. So this actual solar system is removable off the nail, but I will also let you know how you can make it so that it will be there permanently if you guys don't want it to be able to be removed. But if you're going to actually wear it, I would recommend making it so you could just take it off. So it's got some wire that fits up underneath the nail, and then it's all the little planets and they can spin on it, and the nail itself is gorgeous. It's just a really simple galaxy with a sun. I hope you guys love this as much as I do. I'm using some new colors from Glam, so I'll be showing you all of those as well. Don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So to begin with, I'm going to be applying an overlay of clear acrylic over the entire nail. The reason I did an overlay of just clear is because I painted this nail with gel polish from Glam. So I'll show you those colors, and I wanted to use them. I wanted to try them out. So I decided to not do the background with color acrylic like I normally would, and to switch it out for some really, really pretty gel polishes. So there's just that overlay of clear. Then I'm going to file it into shape with my E-file, starting out with a pretty coarse bit to remove any bulk. However, keep in mind that since this is a very long stiletto nail, you don't want to completely file it paper thin. You want to leave a little bit, especially in that heavy pressure apex area, so that it's not going to snap on you, and then file it with a finer file, basically buffing it to make sure it is nice and smooth. Then with two colors from Glam, King's Choice and Captain My Captain, I'm going to create a swirling galaxy kind of background. So I just painted a couple swipes of the glittery black, and then I went through with that really sparkly, gorgeous purple and added that second coat after the first one has cured. And like I said, these colors are gorgeous. They're a part of a Firefly collection, and they're just so sparkly and they're beautiful. So I have been really loving those. So there's a second coat. I decided to add a third one over the purple and kind of blend that into the black a little bit to make it look a little bit more like it fades from one color to the next. After that is cured, I'm going to take a little bit of Perfect White on a makeup sponge, and I'm just going to sponge a little bit of white swirling in around those other two colors to give it a little bit more depth. And then apply a layer of gel sealer over the top of that and cure it. After that's cured, I'm going to take a bead of yellow acrylic, and I'm going to sculpt a very small, I guess you could say, a little sun at the tip of the nail. Not all the way down at the tip, just a little bit up from it. And so just add that bright yellow sun, and then underneath the nail, glue a long bar bead. So as you can see, it's a bead, so it's got a hole going all the way through it. And it's just a very straight bead. So just stick that underneath there, because that's going to be what holds your solar system. Then using a ring sizer or various things, I would suggest like a lipstick tube and whatever you can find. You want 3 sizes of little metal rings, little wire rings. So the actual ring sizes I end up using, I know I showed you a 4 and a 6, but I looked at those and like, oh, they're too close. So I used a 4, a 12, and then for the last one, since I didn't have a ring that was big enough, I wrapped it around a Glam bottle. So that's what I ended up doing. So there are the next ones, and I'm like, I need a 12, because I looked at them like they're still not far enough apart. And even mine, they could have been farther apart. My planets did touch a couple places, and obviously that's not very realistic. So then on the smallest string, I'm going to string 3 beads. So I've got a medium, a small, and an extra small bead, and that's going to be for Mercury, Venus, and the larger one is Earth. So after you have those on there, just glue them in place. And it doesn't matter what color your beads are at all. They can be, obviously mine are, I've got a blue one, a teal one, and a light pink one. We're going to paint them, so it doesn't matter what color they happen to be. Then on the second one, you're going to want to string 1 larger bead. So you've got like a larger size bead, that one, and then 2 that are kind of a medium size, and that is going to be for Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. Same thing, glue those down with some nail glue onto your wire ring. Try to space them so they're about thirds apart, so they're not right on top of each other. Then on the last one, we're just going to do 2 planets. That is for Uranus and Neptune. If you want to do Pluto, find a really small bead, one that's smaller than the rest, and do that one on there. I decided to skip Pluto. That was, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a political decision, but I kind of feel that it is. That is completely up to you. You can do with that what you wish. Then going back to your first ring where the glue has definitely dried, go through with some clear acrylic and round out your beads. So you're going to end up filling in your beads. So depending on how big the bead's hole is, you may end up using a little bit of acrylic, and the first little bit you lay down may just slide right into the bead and disappear basically. But just fill those in and round out the edges. I know my beads, I only had one that was really round, and that's the one that I used for Jupiter. Otherwise they were kind of more of like square shape if you look at them from the side, and you want them to have that nice rounded shape. This being said, my planets, I don't think any of them besides the one that was round just as a bead were actually round in the end. They were all more of an oval, but I find that to be perfectly okay, and it's not a huge deal. And if they're not perfectly smooth, for the most part, like I said, we will be painting these with gel polish. It doesn't really matter if there's little imperfections because gel polish has a wonderful quality of sort of floating over those and filling them in. So as long as there's not huge problems, you do have a helper with the gel polish coming up pretty soon. And I wouldn't recommend trying to file these. You'll probably end up breaking them away from the wire and filing into the bead. I can't imagine that would end too well. So just be happy with whatever they end up as, knowing that they don't have to be perfect because it's a little solar system. And really in the long run, you look at a solar system like this as a whole, most people aren't going to look down and stare at just Neptune and look to see that it's a little bit uneven and it's not quite perfectly circular. You're going to look at the whole thing as a whole and say, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So that being said, go ahead, continue filling in all of your little planets just like so. If you guys go and you do buy beads for this, if you can, I would recommend finding ones that are more circular than mine. I just have a stash of beads that I dug through. I'm like, I need 4 sizes, and I found ones that worked for me. But if you do have to actually purchase them, I would try to find ones that were a little bit more circular than what I used. So now going back to your first ring, after they're all filled in, you're going to want to paint Earth with Lust, which is a gorgeous, it's a blue color. It's like it's a very pretty blue. You're going to paint Venus, sorry, not Neptune. Well, you're going to paint Mercury with a color called Playdate, and then Venus with Color Me Coraly, which is a little weird for me to say, Color Me Coraly. So just go through with those. I just used those 3 colors for the rest of my planets. Mars was the coral color, Jupiter was the bronze, Saturn was bronze, Uranus and Neptune are Lust, the blue. So just go through and paint all of them. And going back to the bronze color, that is from Madam Glam, and it's called a metallic hybrid. And the reason that it's a hybrid is because it can be used as a gel polish or as a regular polish, so you can cure it or you can let it air dry. And if you do cure it, though, you have to keep in mind that it takes 3 minutes, and so it takes a little bit more time, but it ends with a smooth, gorgeous metallic finish. So it is definitely worth the 3 minutes. I swatched it. I have some color cards that I use to keep track of all of my gel polish because otherwise I have no idea what I have, and I'm like, I need blue. I don't have blue, and I have 3 colors of blue, so it gets a little bit funky. But I have color cards, and I was swatching. I was like, oh, this is so pretty. And I can put a photo of that swatch on Instagram if you guys are curious on just what that color looks like. I have it both matte and glossy, so I can definitely post a photo there. So now going back to your planets, starting out with Earth, you're going to paint little details on it, and Earth is the one that I spent the most time with my details, probably just because I'm familiar with Earth and I know how it goes. But you're going to paint the continents with a brighter shade of green, and my continents were pretty messy. I got done with them before I made it halfway around my planet, so I was like, oh man, I gotta go and I gotta spread these out, and then add the North and South Poles, Antarctica and such with white on the top and the bottom, and then go through and on Mercury, you're going to need to add just some brown swirls going on it, very soft, very fast. On Venus, I added some yellow, just kind of floating around it. Almost, if you wanted to use a sponge would be a great application for this. Otherwise, you can just use a brush like I did and kind of blend it out. Then for Jupiter, on the next ring, I added some gold and some brown, kind of stripes, just really fast. I just ran my brush across it. And then for Saturn, I took some gray and I added some gray streaks on it. On Saturn, I did forget to add the ring around Saturn, which was one of those, oh my goodness, how did I do that moments after I was all finished. I'm like, man. But if you were to do that, my plan was to take and make a really small wire ring, say wrap wire around a pen or something of that nature, and then attach that around my Saturn. But of course, I managed to have a blonde moment there and it didn't happen. But add your ring around Saturn with a little bit more of your wire. After you have all of your planets painted, go through and apply a layer of gel sealer on them. And for me, with both the times when I painted them, the first color and now when I'm going through and applying the top coat, I would paint it on 2 of the planets, cure it, and then paint it on the 3rd, so I didn't end up messing up the first 2 when I was trying to paint it on the 3rd. So I had 2 cured and then I worked on the last one. And that obviously isn't a problem for the biggest ring since you have more of a handle space because it's larger and you only have 2 planets. Line your planets up on your rings and your planets up, just setting them on the table. Then create a little elbow in a piece of wire, so it's got a little 90-degree angle on it, and then glue the rings to that other piece of wire. And if you have issues like mine, where I couldn't quite hold them down and I had to pick them up, you can do that just fine. Kind of balance them on a finger while you're holding onto that main stem of wire. Just set them on there and then hold them until they are dry, which is a little bit tedious because you're sitting there with this kind of precarious thing holding it until it's dry, but it does work. And if you want, then I would take some builder gel and just run it across the top of that wire to really secure it. I forgot to videotape that part, but just take some builder gel and paint it right along that area, and it'll hold all of that together really well after it's been dried. So then string your little planets around the nail, mark where the end of the nail is. You're just going to eyeball it going across, then bend that at an elbow going back towards the center of the nail, just like so, and then mark where the tip of the nail would hit it if you were to let it, and then bend that up again, so at a 90-degree angle. So you almost are making a little square here. So you've got your little 3 angles, so then bend that going up like so, and then that should go, so it goes pretty much straight up to the middle, so it'll be pointing at where the sun would go. So right into the middle of the solar system is where that last point of the wire should end up. And then you can stick that through the bead that's on the underside of the nail, and you have your little planets in your solar system, and they float around the sun. And I am so in love with this. I think it is just so cool. And I've been trying to figure out how to do a solar system nail for a while. And I created this little idea in the middle of the night. One night I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then I had these wonderful Madam Glam colors to use. So if you guys are interested in those colors, they are in the description box below. Please share your recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!